is your making it up as they go along leader fan radio network.
It's frustrating.
And KFAN.com. 2 minutes, 2 seconds past the hour of 3 o'clock Central Standard Time. Welcome back. Thursday production of the often combustible, occasionally controversial bumper-to-bumper program on a rather chilly Thursday afternoon here in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul. My name's Dan Barreiro. I host the program. Guardsy produces the show. Did we blow it from a production standpoint, not naming the first Snownomi of the year? Now,
how many inches did we get?
I think officially, didn't we get like 5 inches of snow?
Maybe.
That's enough for a Snownomi. I mean,
yeah.
In some years when it was sponsored, we had 2-inch Snownomis that we named.
Less than that.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Less than that.
Yeah, we had to please the sponsor. I don't know. I'm just asking. I mean, my gut tells me you did not want to encourage it because you didn't want it to be Snownomi Brosmer.
Well, what snowstorm are we talking about? Because it snowed the other night.
We had one like a week ago.
Yeah, well, I was gone. So
I know that's what made it complicated.
Yeah, I wasn't really paying attention to the snow.
And now, is it too late? Is the statute of Snownomi limitations up to where we might as well just wait for the next one and not try to force it?
I do know that our Snownomi...
There's a lot of nominees available. There's a bunch.
Endless.
It's an abundant list.
Our Snownomi correspondent, Ryan Donaldson, is available. I know that, to do the voicing for it. And he's very good at it.
Yeah, that's good to know.
So he'll tell us.
We'll take that under advisement. We are here until 6 o'clock tonight. Out, I'm assuming, for Vikings programming. And then we've got eventually Minnesota Wild Hockey. I think pregame 7:45 tonight.
It's an 8 o'clock. They're in Calgary.
7. I don't know. There's no reason why it shouldn't be a full 30-minute pregame show, but I don't think Fallness wants to work that hard.
It's weird. He wants to do a 2-hour-long postgame show, but pregame he's not interested in. It doesn't make much sense to me.
It doesn't make any sense to me as well.
He's an interesting fellow.
Austin writes, Austin in Apple Valley writes, 8 inches of snow in Burnsville and 18 inches in Apple Valley.
I was hoping someone would get to that.
That joke will never be
do you think enough people understand that? They do, right?
Well, for us, we do.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's still funny.
Yeah.
We got to get that graphic from Fox 9.
That was so good.
Apple Valley digs out.
They're still mad at us about that. I don't know if we want to and then you're not going to. If you keep going too far on that, you're not going to get your shoes.
My shoes, yeah. Did you go and get your shoes today?
No, I didn't go to get my.
I couldn't either today.
No time. So we're busy. I mean, there's things to do.
And they text us, "Hey, shoes tomorrow."
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think you can order them online. Actually,
we can tell somebody we can get a pair. Yeah, people are interested.
In any case, we're done at 6, and we got 3 outstanding guests today. Sean Salisbury is scheduled for the bottom of this hour, 3:30, and Andy Luger will stop by for the entire 4 o'clock hour. This is going to be the hard part with the former U.S. attorney. He wants to talk nothing but Vikings.
Oh, really?
Yes, he's a football rule. Well, he used to play. But he thinks he has all the answers of what the Vikings need to do the rest of this season. So, but I don't want to, maybe it's better to start with it to get it out of the way and get it out of his system. But I don't want it to extend into like hours 2, 3, and 4.
Here's the cheap shot that you can open with that he'll get because he went to Amherst, right? Amherst College, very fashionable college out east.
I believe that's correct. He'll correct us if that's incorrect.
So he played football at Amherst.
O-line, didn't he?
I think so.
I think it's O-line.
That particular college conference does not allow their players, at least they didn't when my friends played in that conference, a football postseason.
Oh.
So like my buddy who played at Trinity, had these dominant regular seasons, they'd be like 9-0, and they couldn't play Whitewater in the D3 playoffs because there was no such thing.
Wow.
So workshop it a little bit and be like, your club has something in common with the Vikings, no playoffs.
Wow.
I think he'd like that cheap shot.
He's sensitive. He's basically, you're either with us or you're against us on the Vikings.
Yeah. Interesting. I didn't know that.
We'll see how that goes.
Well, I have to let him in probably at 3:40 or so when you're talking to Salisbury. So I'll workshop it with him.
Russo Radio is scheduled for 5:02. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. He's not with the club in Calgary, but he's, as I told him, you're always Russo Radio.
Yeah.
No matter where you are.
That part never changes. So we got a lot to get to above and beyond the guest lineup as well. And I'm not going to I guess, pretend that I intended to start the program with the making it up as we go along. But I'm looking at a headline. You familiar with Bring Me the Sports?
Yes.
Okay. Well, via SI.com, they have a story regarding, they're kind of previewing the winter meetings, which are not that far off at this point.
The baseball winter meetings?
Correct.
Oh, no.
And here's the quote they highlight from world-class baseball reporter Kenny Rosenthal on the Twins' offseason plan.
Excuse me?
I don't know that they know what they're going to do.
We know it's not good baseball.
They're working through it. Now, I'm not sure there's been a couple sentences better uttered that more forcefully and objectively and savagely explains everything you need to know about the current condition of the Minnesota Twins. Because he's not saying, here's the complete quote, there's not clarity yet on how they are going to operate this offseason.
My goodness.
And when I say there's not clarity, I don't mean not clarity coming to reporters about their plans. I mean clarity within their own organization. I don't know that they know what they're going to do. They're working through it. What I was told this week is that they'll have clarity by the winter meetings. Okay, it's probably a good idea to have clarity by the winter meetings. Now, look, we all can, I think, mock and ridicule the organizations that try too hard to lay out their plans and to talk about, beat their chest constantly about
the blueprint
and how much we plan and how much we've got. And a lot of times it's empty nonsense, right? But none of this surprises me. It's I guess further confirmation, but I'm going, in all seriousness, boys and girls, my position has been they do know what their plan is. They just don't want to articulate it because their plan is withdrawal. Their plan is contraction without contracting the team. There seems to be no reason to believe anything else so long as they have been unable to articulate what the vision might be. And again, I wouldn't make as big a deal of this if it was some, rube blogger who doesn't really even cover baseball, but is, likes to get the hot takes going. It's Kenny Rosenthal.
Yeah. Guy's
as plugged in as anybody.
Pretty good pedigree.
In baseball. And I don't know. I mean, if you're a player, maybe we're past the point where if you're a member of this team, you go, what are we doing? Is this real? Is this a big league organization? Maybe you've already given up that ghost, right? I'm not exactly sure. But I still don't think it's a particularly helpful look. It's certainly not an inspiring look, is it? When every day it's comments like these, and by the way, who was the national reporter?
Nightingale.
No, was it?
About the pitchers?
No, about Buxton.
Oh, I don't.
It was,
yeah.
Oh, my goodness. It'll come to me in a minute. A big-time ball writer for, I think, ESPN, confirming what I thought I read in The Athletic a long time ago, that Buxton might well be willing to waive his no-trade clause if, indeed, the Twins are going to just gut the thing even more than they gutted it at the trade deadline. And so we got that story looming. We've got the pitchers, the story that we talked about a few days ago from Nightingale Sr., right?
Yep.
That the Twins are mulling over which of the two starting pitchers, if not both, at the top of their rotation that they might trade away. I retweeted something indicating that the Mets are intrigued. They're sniffing around Joe Ryan. And I said, well, yeah, why wouldn't they? I mean, if the good pitcher under a great contractual situation right now, correct?
Big time for a couple of years.
For a couple more years?
Yep.
I think it is. So, again, I mean, how there do you think, when they get in their meetings, how do they justify this approach? Other than if it's literally, well, Joe won't tell us.
That's, I think, what it has to be.
How far we have to go.
Yeah.
And we still don't know the names of the minority investors. We still don't know that they exist.
Mm-hmm.
The commissioner insists that they do. and said it's just a matter of time. But we still don't have any clarity on that either. So every time you think there's no lower that the Twins organization from a credibility standpoint can go, another story develops or evolves to say, no, they can go lower, right? It's
like a limbo bar.
It's bizarre. And it's like they're serving it up on a platter for snarky individuals like me. And maybe I'm falling into the trap. Maybe after the winter meetings, we're going to find out they're going to spend an extra, not only the $30 million that they took away a couple years ago, they're going to spend an extra $30. So they're going to be $60 million above the payroll from when they cut it by $30 million. That's possible. I don't know. Twins writes, Randy in Duluth, Twins have concepts of a plan. They will announce it in 2 weeks. Concepts of a plan. Okay? Yeah,
great plans.
That's good word salad there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Pullets knew the plan in August when they got rid of half the team. Yeah, I mean, you could say they haven't hidden their vision so far, but it's just the way the quote was written from Rosenthal again. I don't know that they know what they're going to do. They're working through it.
Can't you translate that to they don't know what they're doing, or they do know what they're doing?
Well, a little of both. Yeah, that's very true.
I did get the email that Twins Fest tickets are on sale today. If anybody's interested, twinsbaseball.com.
God bless you.
Every game is a big game when it's wild hockey. Feel the intensity and excitement at Grand Casino Arena this season. Get your tickets today at wild.com/tickets.
I heard the Twins have a framework of a plan. Twins are exploring the intent to create a plan. If the Twins trade a starter, can 9 come and pitch? His wide base seems more appropriate off the mound, better than at the football field or on the football field. Be a great year for a Winter Twins caravan tour with Lavelle driving the bus.
I've been at a winter caravan with Lavelle.
Have you really?
Up in Ely, yeah, years and years ago.
Is there a backstory to that?
It was just, we went up there, the PA and Dubé show. It was one of their snowmobile events. I don't think it was like the Twins Fest caravan deal. I don't know. Gardy was there. Rick Anderson was there. Lavelle won like $3,000. It was 50 below zero.
This goes back a ways.
Yeah, this is probably 07.
Larry Mondello guy, does Dan have any more of that liquid mental clarity he used to take that he could share with the Twins front office and owners?
What happened to your mental clarity?
You know, I've kind of lost touch with the candles, the clogs, and the organic mental clarity. I'm going to have to look for that.
Yeah, take a look at it.
Maybe somebody stole it. I had it at my desk. It could be gone. Maybe somebody tried to drink it.
Oh, around here, I rule nothing out.
I agree. If he knows who the owners are, that is, Larry Mondello guy continues, then they can clearly see they are going to sell off every major league ready player. All that's possibly true. Good news and bad news. Good news is we can spread our wings a little bit more between now and 4. Bad news is that means Sean Salisbury is apparently in some sort of travel meat grinder. So he is not going to join us today. Decent shot that we're going to be able to squeeze him in on the Friday Football Beast tomorrow, which has happened before.
He got a new gig. Did you see that, Sean Salisbury?
No. I know he was interviewing with everybody because he told us, he said, hey, look, stuff's coming.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what it is. He'll tell us, but it seems like it's player development / recruiting helper.
Interesting.
Like one of those companies.
Well, you can tell he loves that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
He absolutely revels in that sort of thing. So, yeah, we'll talk to him about that hopefully tomorrow. Because the rule on the Bumper to Bumper show is better late Salisbury than no Salisbury.
Of
course.
There's
no question about that. However, it does open the door a little bit to talk about Rick Bozich's worst nightmare. Golden Gopher men's basketball team right here on the Fan ruined Bozich's night. Bozich, of course, is my best friend from college, huge. I'm a Hoosier Rube from afar. I'm kind of, if I'm honest, in and out of it. He's never left it, and he is, now that he's retired, does nothing but think Indiana sports, Indiana University sports, and the White Sox. And let's just say the Gophers ruined his night last night at the barn with what ended up being not even a particularly, it wasn't a blowout, but it was not even a game that went right down to the wire at all. First Big Ten game, of course, under the tutelage of the new head coach, Niko Medved. And I was chasing drugs for my daughter. Well, that doesn't sound very good the way I put it.
Yeah, where were you?
Antibiotics. She's under the weather.
If you say so.
So I didn't get to see very much of it. I was in and out of the car enough to where I was listening to Grimmer on it, and only once heard contact, no foul. No foul. I think it was one, maybe it's twice, actually. That was it, which is actually for listening for like 6 minutes is pretty low. But it looks to me, so I texted Bozich. I said, so what happened? He said they got crushed. Minnesota crushed the Hoosiers on the boards. And I looked it up.
Yeah.
And he's right. That's the story of the ball game.
And that's not good news for your Hoosiers.
No. Well, they have been apparently quite vulnerable.
Yeah.
By the way, this was their first road game, although they were undefeated.
Yeah.
I think this was actually their first road game.
Courtney James, John Thomas, and Trevor Winter aren't walking through that door for the Gophers this year.
But it seemed like it was one of those games where, all right, all hands on deck. What do we got to lose? Let's just, as we say in the business, out-effort them.
It was great.
40-25, the rebounding advantage for the Gophers, and that included a 10-5 advantage on the offensive boards. So, to me, now there's other stats you can point to. Players that have barely played coming in and contributing, obviously, pretty effectively. But he also thought that apparently we hit 2 late 3-pointers in the first half that he also thought made it the kind of game where the Gophers are going, oh, hey, we're in this thing.
We were tied at the half.
In a way that, Indiana might have gone into the half with a 6 or 7 point lead. So all those things are good. So I'm not going to pretend I saw it. I'm not going to pretend that I'm ready for the AD to give Niko a contract extension yet. But what I will say is what I think I said when he was hired, that in a sense, you could argue it's not the most, quote-unquote, exciting hire or sexy hire. But the one advantage I thought he represented was he doesn't have to learn to coach on the job. And that's not even meant as a rip at Ben Johnson. That's just was the reality of the Ben Johnson era. This guy's coached a while. He knows how to be a head coach. And anyone who watches the way he runs offense knows he knows how to run an offense, too. He knows how to build an offense. And so to me, maybe this is the first sign of this is, at the very least, not a guy that's going to have to train on the job. Guy knows he knows the game. He knows how to coach. And look, early, he told us this when we had him at the State Fair. I mean, you're looking, he's not naive. I could see the upper deck in the highlights. There was nobody there. He knows what he's walked into here, and it's how it's going to take. You're going to have to win people over. But let's face it, whatever Indiana ends up being, they're a legitimate Big Ten school, and they're your first Big Ten game, and that's exactly the kind of game you need to at least open the door to, okay, maybe there are some changes going on there. Maybe there is something worth finally paying attention to there, even if it's a long way from here to contending for Big Ten titles.
You would have loved how the game finished because, well, first of all, they made most of their free throws, which was helpful. Yeah. That's been a problem even for them the last couple of weeks.
And Indiana did not. Free throw line, Indiana shot 60%.
Yeah,
12 for 20. Yeah.
But they made the shots at the end of the half, and their defense was great. And you mentioned the rebounding disparity. And then as they are getting into crunch time, they run a couple of, just their regular offensive sets. And if you blink, the way that they do the offense with back cuts and reads and screens and everything, if you screw something up and leave a guy open, guys are going to make shots. And they've got this Bobby Durkin kid who looks like an AI Jimmy Chitwood. If you told ChatGPT, what does Jimmy Chitwood look like in 2025? This would be him. And he found, some open looks. Obviously, Cade Tyson found some open looks. Asama made so they separated with like 4 minutes left, just on great offense as well as great defense. It's not the usual. Even Robbie Hummel said it on the broadcast for both teams. There's great movement, there's great cutting, there's great awareness. He goes, it's not just a bunch of high ball screens.
No.
Which, if you watch college basketball, that's what it's become. So it was an entertaining game that way because both teams, I thought, ran good stuff like that. It was a improbable and impressive victory. It was very fun.
Again, the talent is thin, I think, especially when you factor in the injuries. Most importantly, who's the point guard? Willis?
Yeah.
Who went down
for the year.
For the year now. And so I'm not sitting here saying now they're going to go undefeated in the Big Ten. But I think the way, to me, this should be evaluated is further reinforcing the notion that, again, they're not in a position where, well, it's going to take this coach some time to figure out the game and getting experience. It takes any coach some time. He's past that. Now it's going to be, can you get enough talent in a very competitive conference? Can you keep it? All those ordinary things, but not the game. The game he knows, the way to handle a team, he already knows. And, I think you can tell he carries himself with that knowledge that, in fact, you can always make the argument in some ways that you actually prove that at lower levels of competition. And then at this level, you're in good shape if you can add the talent. If you can keep bringing the talent in and not have to have 11 new bodies every year, which was kind of what we tended to go through in the Ben Johnson era.
In terms of figuring things out on the coaches show this week, and we did the first Nico coaches show this week, and I even joked with them. I said, we haven't even gotten into your show yet, and you're already down 7 players.
Yes.
Like the show, people barely even know your season has started, and now we're already talking about all these injuries. And as he was going through one of it and talking about how they do things and how we're going to practice, he actually straight up said, and I'm paraphrasing, I've been through this kind of stuff.
Yeah, right.
You figure it out. Mm-hmm. You take a little bit of it. Like, no one's going to feel bad for you. That's what we're here for. And it was kind of refreshing.
Yeah,
it was
100%.
Of course, I'm sure he's frustrated he doesn't have enough bodies,
right.
But I liked that approach that he just said to everybody that was there at Buffalo Wild Wings, I've done this before.
Mm-hmm. And he has.
We'll do it. We'll figure it out.
And that's an advantage. And I that's why the minute the decision was made, I just thought the Big Ten shouldn't be a conference in which you're forced to go with a coach, even if he's got a chance to be good, to learn about being a head coach on the job. It just doesn't. It doesn't. I'm sure there are examples of where it's worked, but it doesn't make any sense to me. And I think that's, to me, what Nico represented. And it's a bonus that he's got history here. I didn't think it was essential, but it's a bonus because he has some context from which to work. And he comes in, I think, with his eyes open as well, because he's been here when it was better, and he's observed it when, obviously, after the fall with Clem, it got a lot worse. Hoosiers crushed, Bozic flushed, Nico blushed, Wolves in 5. Wolves are in action tonight. It's the rematch.
It is.
Pelicans thought they let one get away last time, so they might plant their feet.
They'll be ready.
Tonight.
They'll be ready. Have no idea who's playing for them, but they'll be ready.
Is Zion back?
No, he's out for a while. See, Giannis is out now for 2 to 4.
Well, not only that, you saw the big media report.
Of course.
Was it Shams?
Yeah.
He wants out.
He's already, before the season, they talked about it, apparently.
So I'm trying to figure out, is he advancing the story where this is more active than before? Because obviously there'll be a lot of teams interested in him. Here's what a team that makes no sense for me being interested in Okie City. Tell me what you think. Because one of the speculation was, well, if you look around the league, they're going to be looking for draft picks, and young players, those kinds of resources. So a logical fit would be Oklahoma City.
Sure.
And my comeback to that is, I'm not sure why Oklahoma City would even possibly explore it.
They wouldn't.
It doesn't make any. Now, again, they're not going to be, I don't think they're going to finish like 78-4. That's their current pace. But they've got so many things going, doing it the way they're doing it. Can you imagine? I mean, you bring in a guy like that, top 5 player in the league, a lot of things are going to have to change and revolve around him. And so, why would? So I understand people saying, well, they got the resources, so if you're Milwaukee, you'd like to talk to him.
Yeah, for sure.
But I have no idea why they would go away from the model that they have embraced so effectively. And so, I think almost historically, I just don't think right now there's any other franchises that are kind of doing it the way they're doing it. They have a legitimate superstar, but it's one they sort of groomed themselves. It wasn't one that they had to go out and get. It's already being established. And who are you going to give up? It doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. Although I do kind of like the novelty of Giannis going from a small market to an even smaller market.
Yeah, that's true.
Because that's usually never happened before, right? When have we ever had anybody going to Oklahoma City as some type of destination, even in speculation? No, they're not doing that.
By the way, as we continue the basketball conversation, much to the chagrin of Kevin Fallness.
Russo at 5.
Exactly. That's what I was going to get to. But there's already, so the Clippers, I've probably never been as appreciative of Chris Paul's game as I should be when you factor in the number of ball people I respect who say he's an all-time great. But I'm having a hard time fostering up the suitable outrage that has been generated elsewhere under the classification of how dare this organization get rid of this point guard legend in the middle of the night. I'm sorry. I'm not that worked up over it. Because the only reason it was middle of the night had to do with some flight delays. So this notion that there's we get, I believe, way too hung up in the idea that there's a big distinction between cutting a legendary player at 2 a.m. or the following morning at 9 a.m. I'm sorry. I just don't think it's that big of a deal. And in this case, had more to do with circumstances. And what I have read and what I've continued to hear is Chris Paul has been too much like Chris Paul there. And it's no different than he ever was. The guy thinks he is in charge of everything, wants to run everything. When you're a point guard, you can get away with that, right? People will tolerate that because you're really good at your job. When you are an occasional bench player, they're not going to have any tolerance for it. So the Clippers have been their own worst enemy, but I guess I'm having a hard time making that big of a production or how dare they do that to Chris Paul. Chris Paul knows the approach he takes, and at some point, I just can't lose any sleep over it. Now, the question I'm getting to is, will he land somewhere? And if you're a Wolves fan, do you have any interest in Chris Paul? I have none.
I don't think I do either.
Because again, I think you've already got a veteran, older guy. Okay. I'm not sure how much Chris Paul has left. And again, we don't need the clubhouse lawyering if you're not going to be a main player, right? Seasons are too long. There are enough challenges there. So I would be stunned if there's much sniffing done by the Timberwolves. Whatever they might do at the point guard position, I will be surprised that Chris Paul will land here.
I thought about it for about 10 seconds. Would that make sense? And I'll be honest, I haven't watched a lot of Clippers on League Pass this year. Not one of my favorite teams to watch.
Well, they've been a mess.
They have been.
They're old and not very good. And who's the Miami Heat player? They was Norman Powell. They traded. I mean, they in a sense exchanged him for who's the injured guy who was with the Suns last year? His season's already over. The guard who used to be with Washington.
Oh, Bradley Beal.
Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
That's the trade in a sense they made. Beal is done. Powell's terrific. So they brought on some of their issues themselves, but I don't know. So we'll see. Because I do think, and we even talked about this with Mike Conley, he knows it comes with the territory. The discussions are going to be ongoing. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Lastly, somebody said that there's an internet rumor, and this one makes absolutely zero sense, that the Wolves are on the verge of trading for Kevin Durant. Now, I ask you, have you checked the Houston Rockets' start to the season and their record?
They're pretty good.
They're towards
14
the
and
top.
5.
They're outstanding.
Yeah, they're the 3 seed right now.
let me see. Rockets are going to, you know what? This isn't working out for us. We're only 14-5. And hey, let's see if we can do a favor to another team. Not only another NBA team, but a team in our conference. Where does this stuff come from? Have you heard that one?
No, but I'm kind of curious the sites that you're visiting.
Well, actually,
I'm starting to worry about you.
I didn't visit it. It was Suhan wrote about it.
Oh, did he?
He actually wrote about it.
I'm worried about his sites.
Well, that could be too. But I mean, it's Durant might have made sense when last trade deadline there was talk that he was willing to come here and they couldn't get it done then. And then in the summer it was, I don't want to go there. I want to go to Houston. So
gun belt tight.
There's ones that make kind of sense and some that don't make much sense at all. Let me get to a couple of texts. We'll go to 42. Might as well. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Tom Izzo, Dean Smith, Roy Williams, for a few worked out okay, starting the head coaching careers in big basketball conferences. Yeah, I mean,
that's true.
It's not unprecedented. That's a fair point.
Izzo was Heathcote's guy for like 50 years.
Exactly. And I think wasn't Roy Williams Dean Smith's guy?
He was.
Forever?
Yes. And then went to Kansas.
Long time. Yeah. Yep. So I just think they were further along in that regard. Somebody's asking about James Harden rumors. I've raised the name before. I don't know if you were on that day or not.
We've talked about it.
And it sounds on one level. Well, let me back up and say I have no idea what the Clippers' plans are moving forward.
They're like the Twins. I don't think
For all I know, James Harden would refuse to show up here. I don't think he likes the cold. Although he was in Philly, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't he in Philly?
He was for a while. Was he? Yeah, I think he was. He's been everywhere.
Pretty sure he was in Philly. Yeah.
Houston, maybe Philly.
Yeah. In any case,
Oklahoma City.
But if it's possible, do I think it's as preposterous as an idea to me as I initially might have thought? No. Even though it's it's a hell of a flyer. If you're going to do something, that would be very, very dramatic. But I've come to like this version of James Harden better than previous versions. Now, the fatal flaw you could come back with is, but even in the playoffs, this new version where he's more of a distributor, he's fallen off the edge of a table in some important games. So we're a long way from here to there, but they're going to be a bunch of those. I mean, I unless something gets stabilized here in that regard, like out of nowhere tonight, Dillingham scores 35 and dishes for 10 assists. Just everything clicks. He gets extra minutes because somebody's either hurt or foul trouble, and it starts a trend where he's kind of figured it out. Barring that, I just don't see, the rest of the players are the rest of the players, right? In terms of who can possibly run the show. So we'll continue to monitor. I haven't caught up on the show in a while. We haven't had Sam Mitchell on, so we should probably catch up with him. The interesting thing about Sam, do you remember last year, Sam's suggestion, which got dismissed by a lot of the insiders, was, what about making Nickeil Alexander-Walker your starting point guard? Yeah. And some people thought it was crazy. Is it a reach? He's played really well for Atlanta. In fact, he's flourished without, who's their main scorer has been out hurt. Trae Young. He's played great for them. So, will that be the love we lost? I don't know. It's possible.
He's averaging 20 a game right now.
Is he really?
Nickeil, yeah.
How about what's his assist total? Is he running it? Is he the lead guard?
I don't know that. Guard? I would imagine yes. 20 points, 3.5 assists.
Okay, well that's not a huge number but he's playing well and he can guard. That's the other thing. We always knew. I mean, he is the two-way player, and I'm not. Again, I know you couldn't bring everybody back, but in any case. So a lot of hoop talk there. Very encouraging result at the barn. I have no idea what the crowd ended up being. But again, I think when people looked at this schedule, they go, having Big Ten games early is going to stink because they might get routed early, and then it's another reason for people to look the other way. The beauty of what they did last night is it goes the other direction. I know they do have a very tough. They're at Purdue. Is it next week?
Yep.
Purdue's Purdue.
They're number one.
But I don't think anybody is going to lose their minds if we go to Purdue and do not dominate. But we'll see. Let's pause here. Sean Salisbury is going to join us on tomorrow's show. Travel issues reared their head this afternoon, so we hope to get Shawnee in tomorrow. We do have Russo Radio at 5:00 and Andy Luger, who I think wants to talk more Vikings than feeding our future. He is scheduled in studio beginning at 4.
Fuller for a Michelob Ultra Wolves watch party. B52 Burgers and Brew in Lakeville. You can stop by from 7 to 9, enjoy food and drink specials, and register to win prizes like an Anthony Edwards jersey. Go hang with Max. B52 Burgers and Brew, Lakeville, 7 to 9. Watch the club, KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
Is in the house. He's going to join at the top of the hour. I was just meeting him up at the vestibule. Hope I'm not out of breath. Hermantown. We still have it?
Hermantown? Oh,
Hermantown.
Do we still have it? Yeah, that's got an end date of like year 2020, 2220. We're keeping that one forever.
Why wouldn't we, right? Real quick. See if I can find. This is from Clayton in Rochester. What do the Twins even know? Pablo Esco Barreiro. Twins hot stove is more like 10 below. Wolves in 5. People work hard for it, man. They really, really do work hard. Watching Nikhil, Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones doing so well on other teams, like scrolling Facebook and seeing an ex happy with someone way better looking than you, it hurts. That's from Kyle in Isanti. But remember, as we talked about yesterday, we're on the right side of the great, what's his name? Our new goaltender? What's the nickname?
The Great Wall of St. Paul.
The Great Wall of St. Paul.
Yeah.
Who we acquired from some smart draft day maneuvering, moving up a couple of spots to steal him, assuming that he wasn't going to be available if we waited till 22. I think we moved up to 20.
Yep.
And right now, that looks like a stroke of genius. So we are occasionally on the other side of things. We must, fairness and savagery, take that under consideration. We didn't, I don't think, discuss this in much detail yesterday, and I don't even know if we had the sound or not. But there's been some discussion, reaction to a couple things that the quarterback whisperer had to say most recently about his number one quarterback, by the way, who has been completely cleared, right? He's out of concussion protocol.
He met the media today.
Eye black on?
I don't think he had any eye black, but okay. I didn't watch. I did read a couple things that piqued my interest.
O'Connell, it's purely about decision making at this point. I want him to have a clear head and a clear mind to just go play. But play with an understanding of the decisions that I make have to be of the utmost importance because we learned our turnover number is where it is. It's not a winning formula. I don't want him overthinking or worrying about if the fundamentals need to be changed. Let's just make the throws. Let's just throw and catch. Let's just play with great rhythm and understanding of the plan. Now,
that's things that are easily correctable.
That's kind of what Sean Salisbury said to us a week ago.
Yes.
Almost word for word.
Yes.
But it's still tricky, but because in a sense, it sounds cool to say, just fling it. But in truth, sometimes when quarterbacks do that, it gets even worse because they can throw 5 picks. However, all of these comments this week kind of come off as, maybe I put too much in the kid's head. So then you're back to, well, should it have taken you this long to figure it out?
It's infuriating.
Isn't it supposed to be incrementally you add those things after some success with more fundamental and basic things. And then, okay, now he might be ready for the next step. And then we're going to add a couple of wrinkles, but I don't want to have him thinking about that stuff in the beginning just because I got the big fat playbook.
How long have we been talking about base, balance, ball, Brosmer, Bahamas? I mean, they were talking about his posture in the pocket. You know, he's got to get better posture in the pocket, and they're having him do all these things. Do you want to hear what JJ said today?
Sure.
This one just slays me.
Oh, no. Another one?
No, but it's along the same lines.
Okay. Oh, let's hear him.
A lot of the mentality has changed for sure. I was so focused on doing every rep perfectly and making sure every little detail was crossed and checked off. Coach O'Connell and Coach McCown have talked to me like, hey, let's worry about that stuff in the offseason. Go out there, play your ball, and execute the play. That frees up a lot of space mentally. Be instinctual, react, and respond to what the defense is giving me.
Well, but let me throw out another possibility. They are making it up as they go along, as we talked about with the Twins earlier.
Well, they are.
It's almost like, all right, we've tried that approach, and we are at least talking publicly about it. So what are we left with? We'll go the other direction, and maybe that'll make us sound smarter. And there's no guarantee that anything is going to change, quote unquote, with this approach, or that the approach itself is even going to really change. But it's almost like, well, we can't keep talking about that stuff, so we'll go to the other extreme.
Yeah, maybe. I just know, this is a first guess. At the time, we've talked about it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can't, and I know they haven't, well, they did play the Packers here a minute ago, but like, you can't be thinking about your posture when Micah Parsons is a second and a half behind you. You just can't. It's not workable.
No, you think
it's
about that
possible.
in the offseason.
And even
work on it.
When he was coming off the international trip, that goes all the way back to October, late September, early October. The things they were talking about that they were doing on the practice field just made no sense. Like that they were, and I know the reporters are asking about it, so because they're obsessed with the process of whatever's going on with the QB development. So I defend them a little bit there, but we've talked about this for 2 months now, how it just felt like everything was cloudy, and that's what Salisbury said. As a coach, my job is to remove clutter, and I feel like the way they've handled JJ is like when my kids come in the house and just throw their shoes and snow pants everywhere, and it's just all right there.
And clutter means a couple different things to me. One is, are you throwing too much stuff in his head about base body balance, Brosmer? But also, are you putting too much on his play plate?
Yes.
So to me, it's a little bit of those both can represent clutter. And that's the part that still slays me, is because it wasn't. If they believe what they're saying now, this is 100% confirmation of what we've been saying all along, which shouldn't have been that difficult to figure out from the beginning.
Correct.
That's the thing with a young quarterback, because it's always easier to add, right? Is it not? I mean,
yes.
you build. Okay, we kept kind of pedestrian and maybe not as wide ranging as we like to use my playbook because of everything that's in there. But it's a long season. It's a long career.
It's a long quarterback journey.
The idea is we're looking for some success. We're looking for some continuity there and gain a little confidence, and then we can always add things, and then I'll eventually look pretty as the head coach again. You know, I'll be fine. So it's so clear that there's been too much of an emphasis on the wrong things almost from the beginning here. Now, maybe his accuracy is so bad it won't matter, or it wouldn't have mattered, but it's hard not to It's almost like they're asking, on the basis of their comments this week, they're begging us to second guess, or in this case, first guess.
Right,
what
confirm
would
our
have been
first
said
guess
all along and say, well, this is exactly what we've been talking about. All right, top of the hour pause. We will probably talk some Vikings with the next guest because he's a big-time Vikings rube. And I know has a lot on his mind regarding the JJ McCarthy saga. And then we will get to a lot of different subjects that are closer to home in terms of what he once did as a couple times Minnesota U.S. Attorney for the state of Minnesota. Andy Luger in studio. Questions, Bradshaw and Bryan KFAN text line. That is 64686.